Hi, beautiful people. It is 10 o'clock my time, Pacific Standard Time, and I'm gonna just chat with you guys. I'm just gonna have a light stream tonight. We're gonna talk about Caroline Leavitt. We're gonna listen to Caroline Leavitt and just talk a little bit about Trump, and then we'll call it a night. Everything I share is for educational purposes. I just gotta. Yeah, let me get into this video. Oh, wait a second. How do I? Dr. Manhattan, what's good? I think I'm gonna get through this stream, but something just came up. I'm gonna let this play, and I'll be right back.
From Rhode Island. About that today as well, and our hearts and our prayers are with Savannah and her entire family as they search for her dear mother. I also have a quick scheduling announcement for all of you. Tonight at 7 p.m. during prime time, President Trump, Dr. Oz, and National Design Studio Director Joe Gebbia will officially unveil Trump RX, a state-of-the-art website for American consumers to purchase low-cost prescription drugs. This historic announcement will save millions of Americans their hard-earned money, so make sure to tune in tonight, and we will see all of you in the news media there. President Trump promised to restore law and order to the United States of America, and newly released data proves he is delivering overwhelmingly on this promise. A study from the Council on Criminal Justice shows that the murder rate across America's largest cities plummeted in 2025 to its lowest level since at least 1900. Again, let me repeat, to put this in perspective, this marks the largest single year drop in murders in recorded history. This dramatic decline is what happens when a president secures the border, fully mobilizes federal law enforcement to arrest violent criminals, and aggressively deports the worst of the worst illegal aliens from our country. The numbers don't lie. Under President Trump in 2025, the FBI increased violent crime arrests by 100% compared to the prior year. The FBI also conducted more than 67,000 arrests from Inauguration Day 2025 to January 20th, 2026, which is 197% more arrests than the same period previously. The FBI also disrupted 1,800 gangs and criminal enterprises, a 210% increase from the year prior. The FBI has arrested 1,700 child predators and more than 300 human traffickers across the country. Since President Trump took office, 6 of the FBI's top 10 most wanted fugitives have been captured. Right here in our nation's capital, where you all live, so you know it well, whether you choose to report it or not, the president's efforts to make D.C. safe and beautiful have worked. As of last week, D.C. homicides were down 62%, motor vehicle theft down 53%, and 2025 had the fewest violent gun crimes of any year of available data in our nation's capital. For more proof that these tough on crime efforts are working, look at the president's Make Memphis Safe Again campaign. As of last week, there have been nearly 5,600 arrests made, and aggravated assaults are down 53%. Sexual assaults are down 53%, and robberies are down 70%. Again, that's just in the city of Memphis. 5,600 arrests have taken place because of this president and his Homeland Security Task Force that has surged into Memphis at the request of both the governor and the mayor in that city, a Democrat mayor, I will add. These are the results that can happen when Democrats and Republicans, when the federal government and state and local officials work together. And that's what Trump wants to see to improve public safety across our country. When you have a leader like President Trump who empowers good cops to be cops and to arrest bad criminals, American communities will become safer. Many of the media outlets in this room have expressed shock and confusion at these remarkable statistics. The New York Times declared that, quote, no one knows for sure what's behind the staggering drop in the murder rate. The reason is very clear. It is President Trump's leadership and his unwavering commitment to law and order. The drop in crime is more proof that all that is required to improve public safety on our streets is a leader with the will to do what is necessary to protect law-abiding American citizens. The terror and chaos that was unleashed under Democrat rule is a choice. It's a choice to put violent criminals ahead of innocent Americans, a choice to force us all to live in fear because of soft on crime, liberal politicians, prosecutors, and judges who lack the basic willingness to do their jobs and put dangerous people behind bars. On November 5th, 2024, the American people made a resounding choice that they've had enough of that, and that's precisely why they reelected President Trump. So even as Democrats and the liberal media are engaged in hysteria about this administration arresting and deporting violent, criminal, illegal aliens, the undeniable truth is that deporting these individuals is one of the primary reasons why America's streets are safer today than they were 1 year ago when President Trump assumed office. Former President Biden and the Democrats left our borders wide open, and President Trump and the brave men and women of ICE are removing these dangerous criminals. So here are just a few recent examples. Number one, a Venezuelan national and active Tren de Aragua gang member with a rap sheet including homicide, assault, child cruelty, domestic violence, and property damage. This is an individual I can assure you not a single one of you in this room would want in your neighborhood, whether you admit it or not. He entered the U.S. in 2022, and he was released into our country by the Biden administration. He is no longer here, thanks to President Trump. An El Salvadorian national and known MS-13 associate, previously convicted of homicide, conspiracy to commit homicide, and kidnapping, arrested for arson, battery, armed carjacking, and assault. He entered illegally in 2016, was released by the Obama administration, and ICE just arrested him on January 8th, 2026. This example shows you how many criminal illegal aliens have been roaming American streets freely because of a lack of attention to this matter from the previous administration, and President Trump is cleaning up their mess. A Cuban national and blood gangs member convicted of multiple homicides and robbery. ICE arrested him on October 27th and removed him on January 6th, 2026. Arresting and deporting these types of illegal criminals is precisely what the American people voted for. And despite desperate recent attempts by Democrats and those in the media to undermine the president's deportation agenda, these efforts are failing. Brand new Harvard-Harris polling shows overwhelming support for President Trump's efforts to protect law-abiding citizens from criminal illegal aliens. Nearly 8 in 10 Americans say criminal illegal aliens should be deported. A solid majority also support deporting all illegal aliens, regardless of additional crimes. And more than 2 in 3 Americans back the Trump administration's common sense requirement that state and local officials cooperate with federal authorities and work to hand over criminal illegal aliens in local jails for swift deportation. Finally, to prevent another invasion of millions of illegal aliens from happening again, President Trump and Secretary Noem delivered the most secure border in American history. 0 illegal aliens were released into our homeland over the past 9 months. This is a truly remarkable achievement. Again, 0 illegal aliens released into the country in 9 months. This is staggering, and it deserves more attention from all of you. Overall, Customs and Border Protection recorded the lowest total encounters in agency history. Daily encounters have fallen by 95%, averaging just 250 apprehensions at the southern border a day. This is compared to over 5,100 daily apprehensions during the Biden years. It's a night and day difference because we finally have a president who enforces the law and lets our law enforcement do their noble jobs of protecting our homeland. When President Trump campaigned on making America safe again, this is exactly what he meant, and the numbers and the results speak for themselves. With that, I will open it up to questions today. We're going to start with Daniel Baldwin from One America News, who is here religiously covering the White House beat every day. So it's good to see you in a chair instead of standing up today, Daniel. Thanks for being here, and why don't you kick us off?
Thank you, Caroline. It's an honor and a privilege to represent One American News in the new media seat. First question on the DHS funding bill. Funding runs out in the better part of 8 days or so. Democrats, at least verbally, are very dug in. What does the White House believe their end goal is when it comes to this funding fight, when it comes to immigration policy at large? What is their end goal when they're dug in a position like this at this point in time?
Well, the president has two end goals. One is to obviously keep the government funded and open, and that includes the Department of Homeland Security, which does not just touch upon ICE and Border Patrol, but also FEMA, the United States Coast Guard, the United States Secret Service. These are brave public servants who work to protect our homeland. The president wants these individuals to get paid. Secondly, when it comes to any discussions about immigration policy, the president is never going to waver in his commitment to allow immigration enforcement efforts in this country and to support ICE and Border Patrol and the deportation of illegal alien criminals. I know Senator Schumer and Leader Jeffries sent over a very long list of demands, some of which the administration is willing to discuss. Others don't seem like they are grounded in any common sense, and they are non-starters for this administration. But we're not going to negotiate policy from the podium. I'm going to allow the president to do that, and any final decisions that are made will be made ultimately by him. But rest assured, he is never going to allow law enforcement in the jobs that they do, the important jobs that they do, to be undermined.
And secondly, Caroline, the Department of Homeland Security put out a tweet a better part of an hour ago alleging that an illegal alien was involved in a major car wreck in Indiana, killing 4 people, and they allege that the suspect in question came in under the CBP-1 app under the Biden administration and received a commercial driver's license from the state of Pennsylvania. What is the White House's reaction to a situation like this? And what is the White House doing to crack down on cases like this where illegal aliens are obtaining commercial driver's licenses?
Yes, this is another abhorrent example of the border crisis over the past 4 years. And it again exemplifies why the administration must continue and will always continue to fully back and support ICE and Border Patrol and law enforcement in their removal of illegal alien criminals from our country. For those who don't know, and all of you should report on it, 4 Americans were tragically killed and lost their lives this week yet again from an illegal alien, an individual who was paroled into the country by the Biden administration using the CBP-1 app, which they created like it was a magic pass for Disneyland. That's not how immigration in this country should work. And this illegal alien from Kyrgyzstan was traveling on an Indiana highway, and he failed to brake for a slowed semi-truck in front of him. He swerved into the lane and he crashed into a van carrying 15 passengers, and 4 people were killed in that crash. This is another tragedy that could have been prevented if not for the wide open borders from the previous administration. That's why we now have a secure border. That's why this administration will continue to deport illegal aliens from our country. Thank you for being here. Garrett.
Thank you for your comments and your prayers for the Guthrie family. I have 2 questions related to the president's interview with NBC yesterday.
Sure.
At one point in the interview, the president said that he believes states are accumulating the votes for who wins the election. He says if they, meaning the states, can't do it honestly and can't be done properly and timely, then something else has to happen. What did he mean by that? Is he suggesting that the federal government count votes in elections?
What the president is suggesting, and I just spoke to him about this, is that Republicans and Democrats in Congress should pass the Save America Act. This piece of legislation is going to ensure that states are abiding by federal election law by removing non-citizens from their voter rolls. In addition, the Save America Act will require voter ID to vote, and it will require proof of citizenship to register to vote. These are very common sense policies and proposals that 89% of our country agree with. So that's what the president is talking about. Again, I just spoke with him about this, and he's calling on both Republicans and Democrats to send the Save America Act, to pass it into law and to send it to his desk as quickly as possible.
To be clear, the SAVE Act doesn't say anything about who counts votes, which has always been a state, a local, a county function. Why does he keep talking about somebody else, presumably the federal government, counting votes?
Because the SAVE Act directs states to remove non-citizens from their voter rolls. And we know in states across the country, the president is right to point this out. In states like California or in places like New York City, non-citizens are allowed to vote in state and local elections. And the federal government should absolutely do away with that. I don't think a single person in this room, if you really are being honest with yourselves, should agree that non-citizens should vote in American elections, no matter where that election is up and down the ticket. And so this is a piece of federal legislation that will help states ensure the integrity and the sanctity of their elections. And that's what the president wants. Peter.
Thanks, Caroline. President Trump posted about Nancy Guthrie that he is directing all federal law enforcement to be at the families and local law enforcement's complete disposal immediately. What should we expect to see from the federal government in coming days in the search to find Nancy Guthrie?
It's a very good question, Peter, and it's why I was on the phone with the FBI earlier this morning to ask that. And what they told me is that the FBI, again, is at the disposal of the state and local government. Whatever personnel or assets or resources that the state and local authorities and police need will be granted to them at the direction of the president, the FBI director, and the attorney general.
A different law enforcement issue. The FBI just found 1,000 samples inside an illegal biolab in Las Vegas. It is linked to a different biolab that was previously raided. There are ties to China. What does the president think the CCP might be up to here?
I haven't spoken to him about this specific investigation from the FBI, but I'm happy to. And I'm sure he's very glad that this is something the FBI discovered. And we'll make sure anyone who is involved in illegal activity will be held accountable.
And just one more about this weekend. At the Mar-a-Lago Super Bowl party, after the first two quarters, are the TVs going to be on the halftime show with Bad Bunny or the halftime show with Kid Rock?
I think the president would much prefer a Kid Rock performance over Bad Bunny. I must say that. Jennifer.
On the nuclear arms tract, we saw the president's post on that.
Yes.
But can you say, is there a temporary agreement with Russia to stand by the terms of the New START treaty while negotiations are happening?
Not to my knowledge. Again, to your point, Jennifer, I just do want to reiterate exactly what the president said. He wrote just moments ago, the United States is the most powerful country in the world. I completely rebuilt its military in my first term, including new and many refurbished nuclear weapons. I also added Space Force and now continue to rebuild our military at levels never seen before. We are even adding battleships, which are 100 times more powerful than the ones that roamed the seas during World War II. The Iowa, Missouri, Alabama, and others. I have stopped nuclear wars from breaking out across the world between Pakistan and India, Iran and Israel, and Russia and Ukraine, rather than extend New START, a badly negotiated deal by the United States, which I will add was renegotiated under former President Barack Obama. Aside from everything else, is being grossly violated. The president wants to have our nuclear experts work on a new, improved, and modernized treaty that can last long into the future. And that's what the United States will continue to discuss with the Russians. Peter.
Thank you, Caroline.
Sure.
Did President Trump himself ever ask DNI Gabbard to head down to Fulton County, Georgia?
The president was asked and answered that question just yesterday. I've seen a lot of the media in this room get very caught up with the semantics of why Tulsi Gabbard is there. I will tell you why, and the president agrees with this, because election security is essential to national security. And as the director of national intelligence, it is a part of Ms. Gabbard's role to make sure that American elections are free of foreign interference and that American elections are safe and secure. And so the ODNI director is working with the FBI on this effort, and the president wholeheartedly supports both Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard in ensuring that American elections are safe, are secure, and are free of foreign intervention.
Is there any
Michael,
indication that there's foreign influence?
Federal law enforcement's involvement in the search.
Well, excuse me one second. It's the media who has said that there's Russian interference in American elections. You guys have been saying that for many, many years. So the people
in Fulton
Well,
County.
the people in this room, considering that you all said for many years that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help Donald Trump, you should all be very happy that we finally have an administration that is looking into that, and we'll be happy to keep you posted. Michael.
Thanks, Caroline. With the FBI's involvement in the search for Nancy Guthrie now, has this search expanded nationwide outside of Arizona? And given Pima County's proximity to Mexico, is this now an international search?
Well, Michael, that would be a question for state and local authorities as they continue to oversee the investigation at this time. Again, the federal government and the FBI have offered any and all resources, but the state and local authorities are still leading the investigation. So I would direct you to them. I'm certainly not in a position to talk about it.
One other question, Caroline.
Sure.
Friday's talks with Iran, they were originally supposed to take place in Turkey. They've now been moved to Oman. Can you tell us the reason for that move?
Look, the president, diplomacy is always his first option when it comes to dealing with countries all around the world, whether it's our allies or our adversaries. And so Special Envoy Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be traveling to Oman for those talks tomorrow, and we will see what comes of those. The president is standing by for an update from them. Sure, in the pink.
Thank you, Caroline. Cuban leader Miguel Diaz-Canel said today that Cuba would be willing to engage in dialogue with the United States only without pressure, without preconditions, on equal footing, and with respect for sovereignty. But his government is denying what President Trump said, that they're all already holding talks. How would you respond to that?
I think the fact that the Cuban government is on its last leg and its country is about to collapse, they should be wise in their statements directed towards the president of the United States. But as I just reiterated, the president is always willing to engage in diplomacy, and I believe that's something that is taking place, in fact, with the Cuban government.
Yeah, thank you, Caroline. So the Office of Personnel Management released a final rule today that makes it easier to fire government employees who are not doing their job, basically. Does the president believe that there are people in his government still that are not following his agenda?
That's a good question. I have not asked him about that. I mean, look, it's a very big government, right? There are thousands of people who work for the federal government here in Washington, D.C. This administration has been very much focused on ensuring that we have an efficient and productive workforce for the American taxpayer. There's not a day that goes by where we don't show up and realize we are public servants working on behalf of the American people, and everybody in the federal government best have that mindset, or they won't be welcome to work for this administration. So I think it's a good thing that the Office of Personnel Management put this rule out. I think if people aren't doing their jobs, if they aren't showing up for work, if they're not working hard on behalf of this president, they're not welcome to work for him at all.
The New York City mayor is dealing with a $12 billion budget deficit. If he texted President Trump, would the president bail him out?
I'll leave that answer to the president himself, Ed. Krista, go ahead.
One more follow-up on Dina Gabbard. You said that the president supports the fact that she was there, but last night when he was asked about it, he said he didn't know why she was there. He didn't say that he directed her. Can you clarify on that? Did she go by herself and he learned later and supports it?
Well, did you look at the full entirety of his response? I was in the room for that NBC interview, Kristen, and he just said exactly what I told you, which is that election security is essential to national security. We need to ensure that our elections are free and are fair and are free of foreign interference. And he spoke about how Ms. Tulsi Gabbard is involved in that effort. So you're taking like the first three words that he said to one question and not looking at his entire response.
On what you said about foreign interference. You talked about 2016 and Russian interference, but what we've learned from these Georgia officials is what was seized by the FBI were ballots from 2020 in this Fulton County election center. Do you have any evidence that there was international interference in the 2020 election in this election center?
What I do have evidence of, and what the media seems to be undermining, is why Tulsi Gabbard is there in the first place. And I would point you again to federal law that clearly assigns the DNI and the office with the statutory responsibility to lead counter intel matters related to election security. This includes assessing risks to election voting systems, software, voter registration databases, and more, and analyzing foreign interference. And the ODNI is responsible for supporting the White House interagency action to secure our elections through intel analysis and vulnerability assessments. And they should be routinely collaborating with agencies like the DHS, the DOJ, and the FBI. So as for that question, it would be better suited to ask the Director of National Intelligence herself in her office. But what I'm telling you is that it is more than appropriate. In fact, it is Tulsi Gabbard's job to ensure that our elections are safe and secure. And that's exactly what she's been doing on the ground in Georgia. And I don't understand why anyone in this room, considering you're all American citizens, I believe, and like to vote in our nation's elections, should have any problem with that whatsoever. Now,
thank you, Caroline. The president said that the administration should take a softer approach on immigration enforcement. He's also suggested for months that some migrant workers should be spared from these raids based on what they're doing. Is the administration going to continue to conduct large worksite raids as it seeks to target violent criminals? And can you clarify, is the federal government going to continue doing these deportation operations in blue cities where authorities say they don't want them?
Well, first, again, to the president's answer yesterday, the full context of his answer was that he'd like to see a softer touch, but we are always going to remain tough. That softer touch the president is referring to is that cooperation that is necessary between state and local authorities and federal government authorities to ensure that we can continue deporting illegal aliens from our communities without tons of agents having to go after one illegal alien. If the states and the local governments just turn over their illegal aliens to ICE at jails, as they should be doing, it requires one agent to deport that one illegal alien who can then go on their way to their home country in a peaceful manner. The escalation that we've seen take place in Minnesota is a direct result of the refusal of state and local officials to cooperate with the federal government and with ICE, which has led to these hostile and dangerous environments. And so we don't want that. Again, the president wants direct cooperation, and that's what he was referring to. As for worksite raids, I don't broadcast any future action that may or may not happen from the Department of Homeland Security. But again, the president's focus and the administration's focus is on targeting illegal alien criminals, especially those who have committed heinous crimes in our country, as evidenced by the few illegal aliens that I just shared with you here today.
Will ICE and Border Patrol avoid going to other blue cities where the local officials are saying, we won't work with you, we don't want you here?
Well, first of all, those local officials should be wanting to work with ICE. Why would any official, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, want murderers and predators in your city? It makes zero sense. It's an untenable position. The only reason Democrats are taking that position now is because their entire party platform is just anti-Trump. It makes no sense for the American people. They should be calling this White House. They should be calling Secretary Noem. They should be calling Tom Homan, and they should be saying, we want to work with you to remove the worst of the worst criminals from our city. Please come here. So yes, ICE is going to continue to do their job in cities and communities across the country, but it certainly makes it much easier when we have that level of cooperation and corroboration at the state and local level. In places like Florida, where there has been the arrest of thousands, tens of thousands of illegal alien criminals. None of you talk about that, or none of you hear about that, because these operations are going seamlessly and peacefully. Why? Because there is an intimate cooperation between the state government and the federal government. And that's what the president wants to see in all 50 states. And the whites, yes.
Hi, thank you, Karoline. Over the weekend, President Trump said that he was giving a serious look at endorsing in the Texas Republican Senate primary. We know that Minnesota and Georgia also have competitive, crowded primaries. Is he giving those races a serious look as well?
Well, I'm not allowed to speak from the podium on any future political endorsements the president may or may not make, but I know that he is watching all of these races across the country quite carefully. I won't get ahead of him on any potential endorsements. John.
Thanks a lot, Karoline. Two questions for you about the continuing resolution that the president signed for the Department of Homeland Security. What would be the repercussions for all of the agencies under DHS if no agreement is reached on funding when that deadline approaches next Friday?
Well, there will be grave repercussions for all of those agencies, but more importantly, frankly, for the American people who those agencies serve. And that's exactly what the president and the White House want to avoid. Again, we want to keep the government funded. We want the Department of Homeland Security, of course, to be up and operationalized and continuing as necessary to protect our homeland, to secure our border, to ensure the brave men and women of the United States Coast Guard are getting paid, the brave men and women of the United States Secret Service who protect the president, the vice president, and frankly, all of you in this building every day continue to receive the paychecks that they so well deserve. And so that's why the White House will engage in these talks with Democrats. But again, the president is never going to cave on this administration's core promise to deport illegal aliens from our country.
You said, Karoline, in your statement that there are certain proposals that Democrats are putting up that are non-starters. What are some of those non-starters?
There are a few, and it's a very good question, but I won't negotiate from the podium. I know the White House will be engaged in direct, serious talks with Democrats on this important matter. Natalie.
Thank you. In addition to launching Trump RX tonight, Trump has said that he wants to meet with insurance companies to lower healthcare costs. Do you have any update on those meetings?
Yes, he does want to meet with insurance companies. That meeting will take place. I don't have an update on when it will be on the schedule, But the purpose of that meeting will be to continue to negotiate with these companies to ensure that more money is going back to the American consumer. And you're all going to see that on full display tonight at 7 o'clock with the formal launch of Trump RX. I'm telling you, this is going to be a very cool and unique event. So everybody really should tune in.
Can you clarify what the president said on the Diego Garcia deal? He said he didn't like it. Now again, he says he's for it.
He spoke with Prime Minister Starmer directly. He understands Prime Minister Starmer's position, and he supports it. But as the president reiterated in that statement, of course, the United States reserves the right to protect our assets. We still have a military base, of course, on the island of Diego Garcia. And so the president reiterated to the prime minister and to all of you that the United States will never waver, if necessary, in protecting our assets anywhere in the world, but including on Diego Garcia. And he supports the prime minister's decision. Elizabeth.
Just on that one, Karoline, can I ask you?
Said that he's now seeking.
John, I'll go to you after.
The president said he's now seeking $1 billion from Harvard, considerably more than before. What changed here, and how are negotiations going?
Well, look, this has been an ongoing negotiation and frankly, a frustrating negotiation for the president and the administration because we want a deal. And it's very unfortunate that Harvard has dragged its feet in understanding they need to rectify the wrongs and the illegal behavior that took place on their campus over the course of the past several years under the previous administration. And so the president wants a justified deal to correct for that criminal behavior that took place on their campus. He is now demanding $1 billion from Harvard University, and Secretary McMahon will be continuing to lead this negotiation and these talks.
Caroline, thank you. You mentioned some polling earlier that was very compelling on deportations. Rasmussen came out with a poll today, said 75% of Republicans want all illegals deported. It seems like the conversation has shifted again to focusing only on deporting illegal aliens who are criminals. Is the president still committed to deportations of the 20 million illegals that came here under Joe Biden, or are you starting to see that back?
Yes, and the president has always been committed to that, John, but we must prioritize, and the prioritization is on those tens of thousands of convicted criminals whom we know are still roaming our streets. ICE and Border Patrol and DHS have done a phenomenal job of removing tens of thousands of them. Actually, nearly 1 million people have been deported from our country over the past year, 2 million additional self-deportations. So nearly 3 million people have left the United States. But again, as you pointed out rightfully, Joe Biden and Democrats allowed approximately 20 million people into our country illegally. So yes, of course, the president is committed to ensuring that America is and always will be a nation of laws.
Thank you, Caroline. Steve Bannon recently said, quote, "We're going to have ICE surround the polls come November." Is that something that the president is considering?
That's not something I've ever heard the president consider, no.
Can you guarantee to the American public that ICE will not be around polling locations or voting locations in November?
I can't guarantee that an ICE agent won't be around a polling location in November. I mean, that's frankly a very silly hypothetical question. But what I can tell you is I haven't heard the president discuss any formal plans to put ICE outside of polling locations. It's a disingenuous question.
Karoline, I had two questions regarding the DHS. The first one is, one of the Democrats' main demands for DHS funding was to demask ICE agents. Is this something that the president is even considering?
Again, this is one of the specific points in the letter that went out by Senate Majority Leader Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. I won't negotiate the individual points from the podium, but it is obviously something the White House will be discussing with lawmakers on Capitol Hill in the coming days.
Is the administration concerned that the shakeup that we're seeing of DHS activity in Minneapolis could potentially embolden different obstructionist protesters around the country as they now have a playbook on how to get ICE out of their cities?
No, because what you saw yesterday with the drawdown of 700 agents only condition. Every single county now in Minnesota has made an agreement to notify ICE when they are releasing an illegal criminal from their jail. This is a huge win for the administration. Again, it's a condition the president set out and has been met thanks to the tireless efforts of Mr. Homan. And as for the left-wing agitators who have been illegally obstructing ICE's immigration efforts. We are not letting that behavior go unnoticed or unpunished. In fact, just today, the Department of Homeland Security arrested this individual. He is a self-proclaimed Antifa member who has been threatening, doxing, harassing ICE. He called for the murder of federal law enforcement officers. He encouraged bloodshed in the streets of Minnesota. He proudly acclaimed affiliation with the domestic terrorist organization Antifa, and the Department of Justice, thanks to the great work of HSI and the FBI, was able to locate and arrest this individual today. So we are committed to enforcing our immigration laws. We want that level of cooperation from state and local officials. And if people are illegally obstructing our federal law enforcement operations, if they are targeting, doxing, harassing, and vilifying ICE agents, they are going to be held accountable, like this individual here, who again is a self-proclaimed member of Antifa. He is a domestic terrorist, and he will be held accountable in the United States.
Karoline, just to follow up on Garrett's earlier question, I mean, you've talked a lot about the SAVE Act. I know you spoke with the president before you came out here. The president has gone beyond that, though. He's talking about Republicans taking over elections, states are agents of the federal government. So just to be clear, is the president only calling on Congress to pass the SAVE Act, or does he want Republicans to go further than that before the midterm elections?
The president is calling on Republicans, again, and Democrats to pass the SAVE Act. I will reiterate, requirement for voter ID to vote. That should be something that no American should oppose. In fact, we know that the vast majority of Americans support it. Requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote, which is not hard to do. We should be able to do that in this country. If you want to register to vote in the United States of America, you have to be a citizen in the United States of America. And this piece of federal legislation will direct states to remove non-citizens from the voter rolls. I just had a conversation with the president about it.
Thank you, Karoline. I have two questions. Tariffs on South Korea. As you know, President Trump recently mentioned tariffs, increasing tariffs on South Korea. When will the 25% tariffs increasing on South Korea begin? Secondly, what impact will this have on national security?
Sure. I don't have a timeline for you on that, but I will make sure that our trade team here at the White House gets you an answer swiftly and promptly. John.
Thank you so much, Karoline. Yesterday, President Trump, in the NBC interview, said that it bothers me that somebody is going after Bill Clinton. That somebody is the House Oversight Chairman, James Comer, a Republican. Why is the president bothered that they're investigating Bill Clinton and his Epstein ties?
Look, I think that the president has respect for the former president of the United States, Bill Clinton. He said yesterday himself, they've shared a good relationship, and that's what he was reiterating in that NBC interview.
Go ahead, Karoline. Can you tell us a little bit about the agenda for tomorrow's talks with the Iranians? What will be the focus of the discussions?
Diplomacy moving forward. The president has obviously been quite clear in his demands of the Iranian regime. Zero nuclear capability is something he's been very explicit about, and he wants to see if a deal can be struck. And while these negotiations are taking place, I would remind the Iranian regime that the president has many options at his disposal, aside from diplomacy, as the commander-in-chief of the most powerful military in the history of the world. Washington Examiner, go ahead.
Lynchburg County, Virginia is the third local law enforcement is defying the blue government's demand that they no longer cooperate with ICE. There's a lot of red counties that are thumbing their nose at the blue government, blue states leadership, telling them not to cooperate with ICE. Will this administration support those counties in any way? Support them either through legal help or?
Absolutely. And if there is a county in this country, whether it's red or blue, that seeks to cooperate with the federal government to remove violent, illegal criminal aliens from their communities, this administration is here to help. You've heard the calls from the president himself on asking Democrats and Republicans across the country to call on the Trump administration to work with them, not against them, in the matter of public safety and securing our homeland. Thank you all very much. You'll hear directly from the president tonight at 7 o'clock. And I hope everybody has a good weekend. Happy Super Bowl weekend. The president has wisely chosen not to make a prediction in Sunday night's game. But as a native girl from New Hampshire, go Patriots. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Karoline.
Yeah, I got you. Yep.
Should I sound stupid? Don't flatter me too much. Go straight to my head. I want to steal it from you. I never know when they're too close, and it's. Well, first she was like in the pink. I was like.
Hey guys, I was trying to find what's good, Dragon? I was trying to find something for you guys, but I can't find. I just had this video set up for you because you guys keep asking about Trump and these posts, and people are asking if Donald Trump is racist. I want to find that for you before I go, but I can't find. Hang on, let me look for it real fast. We'll talk about it and then I'll chat with you. Libby's are insufferable. Oh mercy. Okay. Let me look again. You may have to look that word up. Okay, let me try it.
President Trump is congratulating the nation on the big Wall Street numbers. Meanwhile, the White House is engaged in damage control tonight over a posting on the president's social media account that many people are calling racist. The images of Barack and Michelle Obama as primates are being blamed on a staff member. They have been removed from the site. Senior White House correspondent Peter Ducey has details of all of this live from the North Lawn. Good evening, Peter.
Good evening, Brett. It's unclear if President Trump ever even saw this image of the Obamas that was tacked on to the end of an unrelated video before it was posted to his account. But it was posted, and some of the president's closest allies pressured him to take it down, which he did.
It'll save money. It'll save lives.
The White House messaging Friday was supposed to be all about TrumpRx.gov.
This is an extraordinarily successful launch already.
But the day was upended, and some of the president's most reliable Republican allies broke with the White House when an AI-generated clip depicting Barack and Michelle Obama as primates flashed on screen toward the end of a video about alleged voting abnormalities in a video reposted to the president's Truth Social account overnight. Initially, Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt said, "This is from an internet meme video depicting President Trump as the king of the jungle and Democrats as characters from The Lion King. Please stop the fake outrage and report on something today that actually matters to the American public." Republican Senator Tim Scott said, "Praying it was fake because it's the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. The president should remove it." Susan Collins, up for re-election in Maine, wrote, "Tim is right. This was appalling." And shortly afterwards, the White House clarified a White House staffer erroneously made the post. It has been taken down. The post has since been deleted from the president's Truth Social account. Alabama Republican Senator Katie Britt, who frequently appears alongside the president in the Oval Office, said this content was rightfully removed, should have never been posted to begin with, and is not who we are as a nation. As markets closed, the president posted a celebratory message. The Dow Jones Industrial Average just hit 50,000 for the first time in history, fulfilling a prediction he made at Davos earlier this year.
We're going to hit 50,000, and that stock market's going to double in a relatively short period of time because of everything that's happening.
If you go on the Wayback Machine, as President Trump pitched his tariffs, he warned investors that there could be some short-term pain on Wall Street. And there was. Shortly after Liberation Day,
I looked at the first part, and it was really about voter fraud and the machines, how crooked it is, how disgusting it is. Then I gave it to the people. Generally, they look at the whole thing, but I guess somebody did.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans are calling on you to apologize for that post. Is that something you're going to do?
No, I didn't make a mistake.
Okay, well, he did eventually remove the post. It had been up for nearly 12 hours, but he did remove it. And I want to warn before we show it to you that it is racist and offensive, but it's important to show because this was posted on the official account of the President of the United States, right? This is what was posted there. You can see here the faces of the Obamas put onto bodies of apes, and his decision to take the post down came after the White House initially doubled down on the post itself. The press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, saying, quote, "This is from an internet meme video depicting President Trump as the king of the jungle and the Democrats as characters from The Lion King. Please stop the fake outrage and report on something today that actually matters to the American public." Well, that was said, but then the backlash got loud. Republican Senator Tim Scott, the only Black Republican in the Senate, came out calling it the most racist thing out of this White House. Estelle Herndon and Andrew Yang are out front now. Pretty incredible, Estelle. Okay, on a lot of levels. But it takes them 12 hours to take this down. At first, they say owning exactly what it was, not trying to say it was about voting machines, and I didn't see the part about the apes. They actually owned the whole part about the apes, and then still took it down.
Yeah, the initial response was to defend it, as it always is with the Trump White House. And then after the blowback started, we have seen these kind of further retractions. I mean, when I saw this morning, it is both shocking and not shocking at the same time, right? Like at one, you have the reality of the president of the United States engaging in offensive racist behavior, but you also have a president who has had his whole political rise tied to those very same things. I mean, the origin story of Donald Trump is a racist conspiracy about Barack Obama. So, I mean, we cannot extract Donald Trump from the trail of racism that he has left or encouraged. But I think this reflects a White House that is increasingly at a credibility loss too. They are putting their officials out there, Karoline Leavitt included, and whether it's Minneapolis or whether it's Trump's health or whether it's this video, they're increasingly asking the public to not believe what's in front of them. And I think that has contributed to Donald Trump's increasing unpopularity with the electorate.
So, Andrew, the White House obviously now trying to blame it on a White House staffer. Okay, which I mean, there's so much irony in that. You could take the Rob Reiner post, you could take so many posts that they actually haven't even tried to blame on a staffer, right? They're like, he goes ahead and posts his own stuff that I don't know anybody thought was okay. In this case, Trump allies are calling to fire the staffer. Bill O'Reilly said, you got to fire the staffer right away. Pastor Mark Burns, after speaking with Trump, says, my recommendation to the president was direct and firm. The staffer should be fired immediately. And the president should publicly condemn this action, which he didn't do, right? He said he didn't make a mistake. But a source familiar with Trump's social media, as I said with Rob Reiner, he posts on Truth Social all the time by himself. He posts in the middle of the night by himself, right? So suddenly in this case, this one somehow upset enough people that he's going to put the fig leaf up.
Yeah, the backlash was truly bipartisan, which is something of a rarity in today's politics. I agree with Ested. Aside from how violent and disgusting the video was, the first thing that came to mind for me was distraction, because the actions of ICE in Minneapolis, wildly unpopular, even with many people who voted for Donald Trump. This week, a job report came out saying that it was the worst January for people looking for jobs since 2009.
It's 17 years. If you go back.
Yeah, and so I thought to myself, okay, this is Trump throwing something out there to change the news cycle.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think there has been speculation that he has done that before. We know that that's his instinct, is to get it back on his terms. I just think even as they lurch at some of their more familiar topics, be it social stuff or driving what they used to call wokeness or fighting against that.
Yeah.
This isn't that.
This is way beyond
that.
A very,
and
very
so,
bad.
And so I'm saying even as they try to draw Democrats into culture wars, I think they have miscalculated the moments in which Donald Trump goes way beyond that. The Rob Reiner post is one of that. I think this post is another.
Yeah, worse.
Yeah,
I mean, the Rob Reiner post didn't get this much from Republican senators, and you had administration allies coming out and saying, fire this guy, apologize immediately.
Joining me now is Harvard University professor and former NAACP president Cornell William Brooks. Professor, the president is saying in furtherance of a lie about voter fraud in Georgia, of which there was not, which is just something he endlessly repeats like a guy in a bar late at night. He posted or approved the posting of this meme. What do you make of his explanation and how the White House has kind of come up with various explanations throughout the day?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. What I make of the president's explanation is that it is neither an explanation nor an excuse. We have seen from this White House shifting narratives, the president taking responsibility for posting that which the White House denied and that is subsequently attributed to a young staffer. So in other words, we have shifting narratives, apparent lies, and the president not taking responsibility for his actions and the consequences of it. Anderson, we need to really be clear here. The president was drawing from a deep, toxic well of racist tropes going back to at least the 1850s with scientific racism. This notion that Black people are most closely related to apes and gorillas and simians, such that they are subhuman and sub-citizens. And since this president has called into question President Obama's birthplace and his legitimacy, credibility as a citizen, this is true to form. So in other words, this is incredibly offensive. It is not entirely new.
Well, it's interesting. You are right. It is also interesting that he doesn't say, had I seen this, I never would have done this. This is, terrible. These images are sickening, and I would never post something like that. And it's interesting to me that I guess he views it as a sign of strength, his refusal to ever apologize, his refusal to admit that he made a mistake. It seems to me, the ultimate sign of weakness, that he's so afraid of being seen as making a mistake that he can't admit it when he does?
Well, the thing is, it's a sign of weakness in two respects. There's a weakness with respect to admitting a wrong and taking responsibility, but there's also weakness with respect to his inability to resist this racist impulse to demean, to degrade, to belittle Black people generally and the country specifically. And what I mean by that is this president seems to think that he is merely insulting the Obamas and Black people when he, in fact, is also insulting his supporters. What do we mean by that? He seems to believe that his base and white Americans can be so rage-baited and race-baited that they will forget high grocery prices or unaffordable homes or a White House that is in absolute chaos. So in other words, he calls into question the humanity, the intelligence and character of Black people, but he also calls into question the intelligence and conscience of white people. And so he is so small on so many levels. This is, caricature in miniature, microscopic character.
Cornell William Brooks, I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
For more now on the fallout from President Trump's call to nationalize elections and his immigration crackdown, we turn tonight to the analysis of Atkins Storr and Parker. That's Kimberly Atkins Storr, senior opinion writer and columnist at the Boston Globe, and Kathleen Parker, a columnist with the Washington Post. David Brooks and Jonathan Capehart are away this evening. Good evening. It's great to see you both.
Good evening. Nice to be here. Thank you.
So President Trump is openly talking about nationalizing voting, something that is plainly unconstitutional. He's doing this months before the midterm elections. Kimberly, do you hear this as bluster or a deliberate attempt to undermine the elections and then seed doubt about the legitimacy of future election results?
I think it's definitely the latter, Jeff. We have seen Donald Trump since before his first term, even before he won the election in 2016, casting doubts and disparaging with no.
I looked at the first part.
A racist video that President Trump reposted on his verified Truth Social account has now been taken down. The video depicted the Obamas as apes. It appeared at the end of a 1-minute video that promotes false claims that the 2020 presidential election was rigged. The 2-second clip showed the Obamas' head edited onto the bodies of primates to the song, "The Lion Sleeps Tonight." We're going to show you the image for context, but a warning for you, the image is offensive. And there is on your screen there. Reminder, this post has now been deleted from the president's Truth Social website. Okay, joining us now is CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi. Olivia, how is the White House responding to this?
Well, Mugo, it's good to be with you. The White House is now saying that post is taken down, and now they are blaming a White House staffer who erroneously made the post and saying it's been taken down. That obviously raises a lot of questions. One being, which staffer has access to the president's Truth Social account, and why are they posting this at 11:45 at night and reposting this? Also raises the question as to why this White House earlier today, in a statement from the press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, called this fake outrage and also said this is an internet meme video depicting President Trump as the king of the jungle and Democrats as characters from The Lion King. Please stop with the fake outrage and report on something today that actually matters to the American public. But this does actually matter to the American public, and this does actually matter to several Republican senators who have now said publicly, including Senator Wicker, Senator Ricketts, and notably Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, the Republican African-American senator representing South Carolina, who said he prayed that this was fake because it is the most racist thing he had seen out of this White House, and called on the president to remove it. It appears they had heard that request and now it has been taken down, Mugo.
Yeah, Olivia, I think it's important to note that this is not the first time the president has posted a meme or a video that some might consider offensive or racist. There was that meme of House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries where he had a sombrero and also had a mustache. And Jeffries did not specifically address that post, but have we heard from the Obamas at all about this?
We have not heard from the Obamas yet about this, but many Democrats are coming to their defense. One of those Democrats being House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who in a post on X said that President Obama and Michelle Obama are brilliant, compassionate, and patriotic Americans. They represent the best of this country. We also heard from the Congressional Black Caucus leader, Representative Yvette Clarke, who said some folks still find Donald Trump's behavior shocking. I do not. She goes on to say that as the scandals continue to escalate and President Trump continues to lose a little lucidity that remains with him, that he would retreat deeper into the sewers of racism and ignorance. We also heard from Governor Gavin Newsom, who was also in the video. I should note that when Karoline Leavitt and the White House responded to our inquiry this morning about the video, they sent us a link to the full video on X that was originally posted, and it included a photo of Governor Gavin Newsom in there, and he called it disgusting behavior by the president. Every Republican must denounce this now, and there was a growing chorus of Republicans who did denounce it. Mugo?
Okay, Olivia Rinaldi outside the White House for us today. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. I'm Major Garrett in Washington. Welcome to The Takeout. Dow Jones Industrial Average today closed above
have it. Do you guys okay, let me speak about the obvious. Is Donald Trump racist? Was this a racist post? It was offensive to a lot of people, but Donald Trump has made it clear that he's not the one that posted it. I do not believe that Donald Trump posted it. Why would he post something like that right before midterm elections? He's made it clear that it was a staffer. That means, I mean, if you've ever owned a business and you had people work under you, they do things that you don't like, and you have to handle it accordingly. It would be handled. It was on Donald Trump's Truth social account, and he's just got to deal with it. It's not the nope, man. It's the whole country. What are you guys saying? You guys say it was a setup, Bubba. I do agree with that. But I'm gonna say this because I mostly play videos for you guys to interpret things yourself. I don't try to persuade you one way or the other. Please like my videos. They flag my videos every day, and I don't understand why. Am I turning on Donald Trump, or will I pour my support? Listen, I support the commander-in-chief, and we have midterm elections coming up. Conservatives, go out and vote. If you care about our country, go out and vote. That's what I'm going to say to you. Hey, Josiah. I mean, excuses why it doesn't matter. People say things damage Inc. How are you doing? Everybody knows I'm from a blended family and we don't subscribe to racism. Damage, I don't subscribe to racism either. I'm not talking about the post. I'm not saying that it wasn't racist. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that he hates blacks. And Josiah, I'm fine. How are you? I'm not here to make excuses for anybody. I'm obviously a black woman. I come from a blended family as well. You know, we have Puerto Ricans in our family. There's no way I will support racism. But I am still going to say, you know what, I support the commander-in-chief. And Bad Bunny's performing. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. But I just bring awareness to what is going on. That's what I do. And you know, hope you guys don't hate me for it. MAGA Nia fascists have pissed off too many people. They're going to get wrecked in midterms. If they get wrecked in midterms, I will be reporting on that too. I hope it doesn't happen, but I will be reporting on it. And saying you made a huge mistake. What are you talking about? Now, who said they made a huge mistake? I don't know. But Karoline Leavitt, I spoke about first. Well, I played a video on. She has a huge job to do. Poor Karoline, she has a lot to do. Bad Bunny can speak directly to Spanish Americans. She's a real person. She's not a zombie. Okay, you guys are saying a lot in the chat. I'm not really sure what you guys are talking about. Blacks loved Trump before he was Republican. Hey, Detour. So I would have spoken about the post yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to because I'm recovering from the coronavirus. There's no way to explain the post. I don't see any racism at all. Well, if you don't see how it's racist, then I won't be able to convince you. I'm not trying to convince you. It was a racist post. But do I believe that Donald Trump himself is racist? I don't. I think it was a poor post. I don't see Donald Trump as racist. But do I know Donald Trump personally? No. I just think the post was in poor taste, and he's got to deal with his staff. That's because he did not show his true colors until he ran for president. We've all known who Donald Trump was before he ran for president. I can't agree with that. Literally every country laughs at how, no, I don't agree with that. Do you need a psych evaluation? Okay. So Trump displays honesty, integrity. You speak to two liberals are always angry about something. I'm going to say this. I never like for anyone to be offended. I am not defending the post. All I'm saying is Donald Trump said it was a staffer. Donald Trump and Obama they both have had words for each other. I will never excuse racism, ignorance, or anything like that. But what I will say is tighten up your security, make sure stuff doesn't happen again. It doesn't make you look good. And he's already struggling. We already have the things that's happening in Minnesota. He has ICE agents pulling back some, he said. All right. So that helped his popularity. I'm not really worried about the popularity that much, but it's helped him. But then we get these posts. I'm worried about the timing of it. Right when Donald Trump has calmed things down in Minnesota, then we have to deal with the post with Obama. I'm gullible. I need a psych. Okay, I hear you guys. We don't think he was aware. The backstabbers he has to fight all the time. That's my only point, Damage. I really don't believe that he was aware. Trump, number one, Donald Trump is not a stupid man. Okay? This will not have come out. People have been trying to get him with these. The Epstein files. So many things that Donald Trump is like. Does Donald Trump says things sometimes that's like, whoa, Donald Trump. Yeah, I think he says a lot of things for shock value. And the president should do that or not. Who am I to say? Okay, I have my opinions about that. But deal with the person who made the post. They should be able to figure it out. They should be able to handle it accordingly and take care of it. Okay? Because I disagree, people. Exactly, Dr. Manhattan. Trash. This girl can't even talk, Mercy. Trump has a German dad and a Scottish mom. He would have kicked them out. I know that. Okay, let me not look at the chat because you guys are going to say a lot. I'm going to say this again. Donald Trump has a lot to do because people are pushing back and fighting on his policies when it comes to protecting the border. Same thing that President Obama did. Same thing that the presidents before Donald Trump has done. But for some reason, when it comes to Donald Trump, people just hate him to hate him. And I think that they look for any reason to hate him. I'm not excusing the post that came out at all, but you have to deal with the person that has created this AI generated image. And just to stir things up in the middle of the night because people started to calm down and they were actually congratulating him for what he was doing in Minnesota and pulling back the federal agents there. And then you get this, and it's just one thing after another. And I believe it was to try to harm him before midterm elections, but that's my personal opinion. No one has calmed things down. He goes to start fires. Makes poor. Okay, so I'm going to continue to pray for our country. I'm going to continue to pray for freedom of speech, for the conservative. Dr. Manhattan, what word are you putting? Remove that word from my chat. What's wrong with you, Dr. Manhattan? Swinging. I'm going to continue to pray for our country, and I'm going to continue to pray that we stay united. And I'm going to pray that the conservatives go out and vote for midterms, and that, regardless of what happened, it's in God's hands now. It's in God's hands. but I'm not going to demonize President Trump. I'm not going to join the hate train that he's had to deal with since he's come into office. I think that it's a sad day in history to see people just not loving the country the way that I love the country, the way that other conservatives love the country. I'm not saying that Democrats don't love the country, but by some of these things that you guys are saying in my chat, I'm starting to wonder where you guys are coming from. I just am. Please remove your blinders. Thank you, Dr. Manhattan. Please remove your blinders and attempt to report the truth if you consider yourself a reporter. I'm not biased, and I do consider myself nonpartisan, but I am a conservative. You are misunderstood, Kirk. Blink twice. You are misunderstood, Kirk Douglas. Are you stupid? This man has always hated people of color. I don't agree with you, Jose. I don't agree with you, but you guys are going to, what's good, Sleepy Lounge? You guys are going to think what you're going to think, and I'm not trying to persuade you one way or the other. Trump was well known for not wanting blacks around. I feel that regardless of the color of your skin, it's up to you to pull yourself up to overcome the obstacles, whatever those obstacles are, and you can't use the color of your skin to help shield you. I do believe that anyone could be racist, white or black, and we have a lot of opportunities in this country, and Donald Trump has done a lot since he's only been in office for a little over a year. That's it. And since that time, the crime rate has been lower, and the borders are safer. There's less drugs coming into the country, and those are the things that I talk about. You from Idaho? I'm from Idaho. What about the Central Park 5 years? I didn't say anything. I actually spoke about Central Park 5 earlier. I did. But I'm going to say this again. Donald Trump has given more money to the HBCUs. He helped defend people that were very controversial. You guys don't remember with Michael Jackson when everybody turned on him, Mike Tyson. So I'm not going to do the race thing. People say dumb stuff all the time. People do dumb things, but I can't always throw the race card out there. And what's funny is the very same people that's throwing race into my chat are the same people that don't like it when blacks talk about race. But when it's somebody that you don't like, then okay, let's act like we care about racism. A lot of you don't care. You don't care. I care about racism, but I'm not going to call Donald Trump. Donald Trump says some things that's like, huh? Like a lot of other people. But you guys didn't care when Biden talked about race and how he didn't want his kids to be on the same bus as black people. And he didn't want his kids to be schooled with black people. So all I'm saying is, what's with the selective outrage? If you want to talk about racism, you don't like racists, talk about it all around, not just when you don't like the person. Now, again, I'm not a Trumper. I'm not defending anybody, but I am speaking of what happened. I'm speaking about what happened, and it's very selective. It's selective. Donald Trump gave money to the HBC. Yes, he did. Look it up. Yes, he did. American sovereignty is secured again, right, Detour? You didn't care? I bet you are a smart person. So I'm going to say this. Turn down the White House illegally. You talking about the ballroom? Is that what you're talking about? Crime rate is lower. Now, Donald Trump won the popular vote. A Republican president has not won the popular vote in over 20 years. America was tired of the way that things were going. They couldn't say it out loud because we have cancel culture. They have cancel culture. They want to cancel not only Donald Trump, but anyone that spoke for what was best for this country. There's only one. There's two reasons why people want illegal immigration. Okay, it has nothing to do with the immigrants that's coming over. It's for other reasons that I'm not going to get into tonight. But if you think about it, ask yourself, who benefits from illegal immigration? It takes a toll on America, our economy. It takes a toll. It takes a toll. And Trump is not against free speech. Okay, let me get off the chat. It just takes a toll. Cancel culture goes both ways. Or are you biased? I'm not biased. Cancel culture does go both ways. But you can freely say that you're Democrat When you say that you're Republican, they call you a fascist, they call you racist, they call you all kinds of things, and it does not happen if you say that you're Democrat. It just doesn't. Look at how people celebrated Charlie Kirk. Whether you like Charlie Kirk or not, Charlie Kirk spoke about conservative values, traditional values, and he was unalived. And people celebrated that. That's what happens when you speak for the political right. Thank you, Edward, for subscribing. I appreciate you. What about ICE people? Okay, I'm not sure what you guys are talking about there. Hey, Mitri. You're so selective, I can't listen to you. Well, I'm not forcing you to be here. Is Trump a good man? That's not for me to say. That's not for me to say. Do I think he's a good president? Yes. Thank you, Tyson. I could say that. As far as him personally, I'm only interested in what he's doing for the country. I see that he has his kids. He is, despite all the pressure, he's getting things done. And that's the people in Venezuela celebrating, happy, freedom of a dictatorship. Those are the things that I see. The hostages in Gaza, I see that. Putting time limits on EBT, food stamps, saying that you can't be on it forever because you have to work. 2 thumbs up for me. 2 thumbs up. Everybody has to work, or, oh, hey, Tyson, I see you. Everybody has to work, or that's just what it is. Only God could judge us. Whew. Keep up the good work. God bless America. We should all, thank you. We should all be proud of who we are, regardless of your race, because we're American. Get rid of all the time. We're just American. And that's what I like to see, us united as American people. Put America first. I would be saying America first, even when Donald Trump is not in office. That stayed in my head. Put America first for a change. The cost of prescription drugs lower. Why does the United States pay higher than any other country in prescription drugs? Donald Trump. Americans are suffering. It's good to hear a woman speak common sense. Thank you, Digital. Trump wants to nationalize elections. That's not true. Fake news. How come? Oh, that went too fast. How come no one talks about how the Dems covered up Biden's sanity? Who would have voted for him if they knew? Christopher, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that people don't like to talk about. ICE isn't breaking any constitutional laws. ICE is upholding the law and doing their job, and it's hard. It's hard because people want to identify. Oh, thank you so much for the. Thank you so much for the super sticker, PT Mendayas. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Donald Trump is doing what Donald Trump needs to do. If you're that unstable to think another race holds you down or superior than you, that's weak-minded. Exactly, Damage. Exactly. ICE is upholding the law, whether you guys like it or not. Stay out of the way. Don't interfere with the investigations, and everything will be okay. There's videos that I'll have to. I don't know if I have time to show you guys. I won't tonight. That tells you what to do if you're stopped by ICE. And in those videos, they will not tell you to resist. They will not tell a bystander to try to hold the ICE agent's hand or try to interfere. Keep yourself safe because those ICE agents have to do what they have to do. And right now, it's very hostile because a lot of people are fighting against them. And they're trying to remove people that have come here illegally, that have committed crimes against the United States. Now, Donald Trump said that he's looking for violent criminals, but you see other people that's probably not violent going back. I have to be fair. But again, if you enter this country, if you overstayed your visas, if you've done things like that, they're giving you an option to self-deport. If you self-deport, you have a chance to come into this country the legal way, documented. That's why I don't vote. It's all rigged. Thank you, Hans. I appreciate you. I don't know what happened to my dog. Christopher, I disagree with you. I disagree. Hi, Tracy. Oh, my dog is not gonna act right. jury did not find Trump liable for anything. And we all know that people have been wrongfully convicted plenty of times before. Oh wait, what did you say? I own and my own house value has dropped, but I'm fine with that. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. What laws are ICE breaking? You will see they're not breaking any laws. They're not breaking any laws. And you always have a bad apple in every bunch. Mitri, yeah, she's tripping right now. You always have a bad apple in every bunch. But I'm not blaming that. That's just some people. But as a whole, they're out there serving our country and doing their job. They're doing their job. So I don't see what laws ICE agents are breaking. Let me tell you something. If I go into another country and I enter that country however I want, what do you think will happen if I go protest and say Mexico? I'm like, I don't like the Mexican government, blah, blah, blah. What do you think will happen to me? And do you think anybody would come over there to save me if I broke the laws over there? So why do they expect something when they come here? I'm not just talking about Mexicans. I'm talking about anybody that comes into the country illegally. Why do you get to come here and just demand to stay here any way that you want? And you got American people backing them up. I find that absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Protesting is not illegal, but what you're seeing when you're grabbing ICE agents and you're parking your cars in places to where people can't get by, that's not a peaceful protest, and that is not covered by the Constitution. That's not legal. How are you, Vino? Because we have rights here. We have rights here. Detour. My IQ is getting lower oh God. But it doesn't, you missed my point, Ron. So I think the person with the low IQ is you. It's you. You guys missed my point. Every other country protects their borders because they know that there's safety in protecting the border. The United States has been nice for far too long. You've got to protect the borders. The American citizens want to feel safe. We want healthcare. We want to make sure that our families are taken care of, and we can't do that if we just allow anybody to come over here, commit, do whatever kind of trafficking with drugs, with kids. We can't. That's not safe, and it's a threat to American people because then we have to uphold the law. You have people standing against the law. Okay, that's saying that no, they can do whatever they want in this country, and no, Donald Trump said it's time to clean it all up. You're Kuwait, okay, Vino. You don't look American. Mercy. So as a Black woman that doesn't look American, I'm telling you, I'm not quick to call something racist. I don't see Donald Trump is not racist. Donald Trump's not racist. He just has a lot to do, and sometimes people are not going to like it. A lot of times people are not going to like it, but you have to do what Donald Trump is doing what the American people voted him to do. Donald Trump is doing what the American people wanted him to do. And he gets a lot more support than what the media wants to show you. But because they're trying to go along with the masses and make people feel good, they're not really going to tell you. They're not going to tell you. So that's why I'm really careful with what I listen to on the news. All right. How do I know Trump is not racist? I haven't seen racism. I've seen things, I've seen mistakes that people have made on the right and the left. But I'm not quick to call somebody racist. Okay? All right. Okay. Do you think your miserable prove that he is racist? I'm not gonna call anybody racist. I'm not going to talk, I'm not going to demonize wealthy people. I'm not just the same way. I'm not going to demonize people that aren't wealthy. You can make it if you want to. Trump has removed Black leaders from our website. I don't know what you're talking about there. These people are here There are people here saying they are victims in the chat, yet resort to name calling. You know? Look at my African American. What race am I? Black. I'm American, but if you want to know color of my skin, I'm a Black American, Afro-Latina, if you want to get more specific. So, you think that I would want to support somebody that's racist, or would I be conservative if I thought all conservatives were racist or all Democrats? No. I haven't called Democrats racist, even though it was the Republicans that fought for the civil rights of Black people. And the Democrats, well, we know the story, right? We know the story. So I'm not about to get into this whole racist rant. African and what? Doesn't matter. I was born in the United States. Listen, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'll be back later today. Black Maggots, Mercy Dawn. I'm going to say this before I go. I love our country. Donald Trump is our commander-in-chief. He's not just my president, but he's your president. He's your president as well. Okay? So stay safe. She's not American. Okay, Israel. You're going to say what you're going to say. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. Insults, I don't worry about them. My mods don't even block you, because when you can't reason, you go to insulting people. And I wish that people from the political left or liberals or whatever you guys claim or call yourself, it's not a good look, okay? You want to throw tantrums and call people names because you don't agree with what a person is saying. Okay, you don't like the post. I spoke about that. I played the post. I really didn't give my opinion on it. All I said was, I'm not about to call Donald Trump a racist. I'm not. He could deal with his staffer, but Donald Trump is doing what the American people put him in position to do, and that was to protect our borders and put America first, and that's exactly what he's doing. All right, you guys, thank you for hanging out with me. Dr. Manhattan, I appreciate you, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.